We begin with Doug Glazader live in Washington to break down the court decision against President Trump's National Guard deployment. Doug, there was a whole lot that happened over the weekend when it comes to this. What's the latest?
Carly, good morning. There was. This is the second setback now for the White House from this federal judge in Oregon. The administration is trying to restore order for immigration enforcement in Portland. First, the judge blocked efforts to deploy the Oregon National Guard to help bring order. Then, when the administration pivoted to send in Guard units from California and Texas, the judge blocked that plan, too. Now, President Trump at the White House yesterday is clearly fed up.
Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists. The governor, the mayor, the politicians are petrified for their lives. And you have a judge like that, that judge ought to be a king of them.
Okay, the judge's decision was a win, though, for, among others, California Governor Gavin Newsom, who posted on X, the court granted our request for a temporary restraining order halting any federalization, relocation, or deployment of any Guard members to Oregon from any state. And Trump's abuse of power won't stand. The governor of Texas, though, says his troops are ready to go, and they could be sent to Chicago to quell protests there. He wrote on X, I fully authorized the president to call up 400 members of the Texas National Guard to ensure safety for federal officials. You can either fully enforce protection for federal employees or get out of the way and let Texas Guard do it. Now, that came after the governor of Illinois asked him to stay out of it, posting this on X. There is no reason a president should send military troops into a sovereign state without their knowledge, consent, or cooperation. That federal judge in Oregon, by the way, was appointed by President Trump during his first term.
He was.
Carly.
All right, Doug Glazader live for us in Washington. Doug, thank you.
Surrender that gigantic pie to the free, my rascally restaurant.
Jerry, this is a very serious show. I can't be dressing as campy Adam West Batman fighting illegal aliens in sombreros with giant waxy mustaches in the Walmart parking lot. Even though that does actually reflect reality and why we weren't live on Friday. Okay. Enough. We got a serious show. We are locked in today. Jerry's job is to break me. Jerry's job is, it's like a comic. You know, when you got a tough room, we got a tough show today. We got a lot of very serious things to talk about. We got a very big week. We've been making a lot of news around here, and we are ready to fight back. There is true evil in our nation. But Jerry's job every day is to break me, right? Much like you get an audience to crack when a tough crowd starts laughing and that rolling laughter keeps going. That's Jerry's job every single day with me. And well done, Jerry. I am howling. That is really funny. I want that. I want that posted right now. I suck. Today is Monday, October 6th, 2025. Very serious show today. It is very serious, by the way. Trump will send hundreds of National Guard troops to crime-ridden terrorist hellscapes of Chicago and Portland. Get ready for more news on that from the program. We're going to rock and roll. We were in Chicago on Friday. Brought a lot of breaking news to the forefront as we traveled with Kristi Noem and arrested criminal aliens in the Walmart parking lot. We did literally do that. It was a wild romp, and we'll bring you all the updates from that. Ladies and gentlemen, there is, however, something that I witnessed in Chicago, which was a left-wing terrorist element of the Democrat Party that wishes to attack federal law enforcement and kill us. And I said, look at these people. They're all getting arrested right in front of me for violently attacking federal troops. All that Kristi Noem wanted to do was leave the ICE state. She wanted to leave the ICE detainment facility. The ICE detainment facility in Chicago is under constant terroristic attack by the left. There is no parallel for this in our political zeitgeist. In our political landscape right now, this whole both sidesism stuff is total bullshit. And I'm just going to call it out from the top. There is no parallel. There is no left-wing organization or left-wing building that gets constantly attacked day and night by the right. There is no example of that. Not in modern history, not in postmodern history, not in pre-modern history, never. There has never been that. But there are multiple ICE facilities all around America that are under constant sniper fire or terroristic attack by mobs of left-wing orcs that are throwing rocks, bricks, sticks, bringing guns. Again, sniper fire in Dallas, Texas, just last week. They're bringing explosives. They launched explosives at us in Chicago, attacking independent journalists like Nick Sotor, who will be on the show. This is a wholesale domestic terrorist wing of the Democrat Party, and they are represented by domestic terrorists on the ballot. We're going to start our show with a candidate in Virginia that openly wants to murder Republicans and their children. Has he lost any endorsements at all? Wait till you read this, ladies and gentlemen. You probably don't need further proof that the left wants you dead, but we got it today. Lauren Boebert will also be on the program, along with Angel Father Joe Abraham from Chicago, who lost his daughter to criminal aliens and who is probably going to have a very interesting commentary on what's going on in his city. Also, our team is working on potentially having the Attorney General in Virginia on the program, given the fact that this is going to be a really big topic of conversation. So let's lock in. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Make sure you are going gold. Go gold and go hard today. There are very unique opportunities right now in the market. There's a lot of flux. There's a lot of very frothy, as they would say, in Wall Street. And so these opportunities are obviously going to create big risk. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you lose everything. I can tell you something that has performed like incredibly over the last 100 years. Not many people can say that. Maybe last 1,000 years, maybe last 5,000 years. And when did recorded history start? Go gold, man. Okay, I'm just going to say it. We're all on a roller coaster ride. I'm not saying sell everything and go gold. That's up to you, if you want to do that. What I'm saying is it's done great for me. And you can check the charts. The gold asset class has done incredible. So is silver. So is precious metals writ large. And my friends at Advantage Gold can take care of you. And they can make sure that you're locked in. They can make sure that you're locked in legally, moving your IRA or 401k or TSP into physical gold and silver. Text Benny to 85545 right now. That's Benny to 85545. Do it today and get your free copy of the 2025 Gold and Silver Report. The Fed's next move could potentially send metals even higher, so text Benny to 85545 and protect your savings today with Advantage Gold. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about a man named Jay Jones. Now, this is an individual who's running for the Attorney General of Virginia. Virginia is a very important state. It's where a considerable portion of the federal government lives. Federal government is run right now by Republicans, all three branches of it. There are millions of Republicans in Virginia. How many Republicans are registered in Virginia? Grok or ALX. ALXAI, we call him. It's really hard to tell the difference, frankly, between ALX and actual literal AI. How many Republicans are in Virginia? I would assume there are millions of them. Virginia is one of those states that used to go really soundly red, has a Republican governor right now, Republican lieutenant governor, and a Republican attorney general. It's one of those states that has plenty of good-hearted Republicans in it. And Jay Jones is fantasizing about killing all of them and their children. And the Democrat Party is applauding him and doubling down. I want to zoom out for just a second and ask, wait a second. Didn't we just all watch Charlie Kirk die after being shot by a Democrat, left-wing activist? Haven't we watched President Trump get shot in the head? A physical bullet hit Trump in the head, fired by a Joe Biden donor. We never say that about Thomas Matthew Crooks, do we? A Joe Biden donor. That's who this individual was, and Joe Biden supporter. Okay, so another Democrat. And he also, of course, killed members of the MAGA family. We then have witnessed the prosecution and conviction of Ryan Ralph, who was trying any way he possibly could to kill Donald Trump. This is, of course, a man who is a Joe Biden donor, supporter, Ukraine activist. And, of course, thousands upon thousands of other leftists committing violent crimes day and night, whether it is the transgender shooter in Minneapolis or the man who just opened fire on an ICE facility and killed a couple of criminal aliens in custody. It's almost too numerous to count all of them. So maybe you don't need any further evidence that the Democrat Party has gone from opposing the Republican Party in peaceful ways, the way that you do at the ballot, and voting your ideas and having robust debate. That's the way that we've normally done things in this country for about 250 years. They have now moved into a very different style of politics. Revolutionary and pre-Civil War style politics, where it is morally permissible to murder your opponent for having a different worldview. It's morally permissible to murder them for power. This is a very different worldview than we've gotten accustomed to fighting in this country. It has been a very long time since we've had to face this. But this is the nature of humans. It is utterly and totally, by the way, has been the nature of humans forever. We live in a fallen and sunken world. It is godless. Let's call it what it is. If you believe in God, if you are a believer in creation and an all-powerful God that made us, then you're against murder. You're against murder because it's wrong. You don't want it to happen to you because the Bible says so many times. New Testament, Old Testament, Christ. You're just against murder. But if you're godless and you don't believe that humans have any value and you believe that we all descended from the animals and we should just be treated like animals, the way you treat cattle or a dog that's gotten too long in the tooth, as they say, you just take them out back. If a dog becomes an inconvenience or whatever, on the farm, if it's too old or diseased, then you do the old yeller, right? That's what the old timers say, right? If a cow, if it's time to eat, if it's time to use the cow for something else other than grazing, you kill it. If you just believe that we're all descendant from the animals, then when someone is an inconvenience, you just go murder them. That's not the way that I think. That's not the way that any moral person thinks, but that is a way that a considerable portion of the left thinks these days. And how can I say that? Well, polling says that, but also their actions say it, and actions maketh the man. I really just don't care what you tell me. Talk is cheap. Yap, 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 yap. We disavow violence. Do you? Here's a perfect opportunity to do that in Virginia. Jay Jones, sick bastard. Here are the texts. Let's go ahead and read them. Jay Jones says he wants to kill his opponent. Okay. He says not only that, he wants them to be awash in blood. And he wants to piss on their graves. He wants them to die. He wants bullets in their heads. He says they're the same people here. Hitler, Pol Pot, and Gilbert. Gilbert is his Republican opponent in the race. He says he gets 2 bullets in the head. He said actually he would save Hitler and Pol Pot and kill his opponent. Then he says he wants to kill their kids. So I want to make sure that I kill his children because they're little fascists. That's what Jay Jones says. This is the man who is running for the top law enforcement position in the state of Virginia. Very important state. a state that has, again, millions of Republicans. Do we have the numbers, boys? Send them to me. Do we have the numbers? How many Republican voters are there? Oh, there's almost 2 million. Got it. So almost 2 million Republicans, and Jay Jones wants to kill them all. Do you see how we get to a place where things are untenable and are very shaky right now? Do you see how societies collapse? This is like Bolshevik revolution stuff. So that's what Jay Jones says. He says it here. Nobody has come out and said these are fake or doctored or they're AI. They're real. They're 100% legitimate. The man who is the leading candidate for law enforcement in Virginia wants you dead. Now, Trump and J.D. Vance, of course, have come out and called for him to drop out. Even MSNBC, of all places, has called for Jay Jones to drop out of the race because, of course, you can't run a society like this unless your end goal is the mass murder of Republicans. Now, it's indefensible, but maybe without Trump eating bullets and without Charlie eating bullets, maybe you could argue a fit of pique, or you could grovel and cry. You could cry about it and sing Kumbaya and do the whole thing that Democrats normally do to try and whitewash themselves of their sins. But no, not now. Now we witness Democrat terrorism every single day. And so when the Democrat candidate for the chief law enforcement officer in Virginia says he wants to mass murder Republicans, you got to take that seriously. Even MSNBC, here we go, is saying drop out of the race.
Virginia is coming up. An attorney general candidate in Virginia is apologizing for his texts about a state lawmaker. We'll go through what the messages said.
Probably be forced to withdraw from the race, and probably is doing a lot there.
All right, Morning Joe will be right back.
Probably withdraw from the race. Here's the political ad that puts into stark relief what Jay Jones has done. Go.
Start with breaking news from the campaign trail.
Jay Jones is under fire tonight.
Jay Jones is under fire.
Jay Jones is under fire after messages he sent in 2022 saying former Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert should be shot.
I'm excited about this ticket.
It's been great to be out on the campaign trail with Jay Jones.
You said Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views.
We deserve an attorney general who will stand up for the people of Virginia.
Jones said, quote, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head.
Let your rage fuel you.
Jones doubled down, saying, quote, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes.
How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
I don't know about you. I don't like libs, and I don't like Joe Biden, and I don't like Barack Obama. And I can list off a bunch of people that I think have really wrecked the country and made it very hard for my children to succeed. And that makes me angry, and it embitters me against them. And we spend a lot of energy making sure that those libs and that ideology can be salted from the earth, right? By peaceful means. We vote them out. We marginalize them in these small little embarrassing pockets, right? Force them all to live in Portland, yada, yada, right? Go, everyone go, you can go live in Baltimore, right? For all I care. You can't find a single text in my phone. You wouldn't be able to find a single chat, private or otherwise. You can't find a single hour or minute. And I live stream for hundreds of thousands of hours. How much content have we put out? We have billions and billions of views on our channels. We put up content all the time, every day. Not one time. Have my phone. Go through all my private chats. You can't find one time where I fantasize about killing anyone. My political opponent or otherwise. One time where I would go in and talk about their children, murdering kids. No, not even in my private, darkest, small hours of the evening. like whatever, drunkest conversation. I don't even drink anymore, but like, okay, I used to. Like, never. What is it with these people? It is a sunken spiritual state. They are godless. And God help us, because that is what we're fighting. We're fighting people that are totally and completely permissible of genocide against us because they don't like our because they think that they could get power. This is how all genocides start, actually. The Bolsheviks or any communist genocide, anything, they know they can get power if they kill their way to it. If they kill all the people that stand in their way, they can take all the power. They can seize the means of production. So every conservative, the 2 million Republicans in Virginia, will now know that the top law enforcement official in their state, if elected, is willing to kill them and their children. They know that their neighbors, their friends, the people who voted for Democrats, they also voted for a man who's willing to genocide them. Do you understand what a dangerous place we are in right now? Why it is absolutely imperative that the Trump administration acts with absolute swiftness to crush this element of society? This is the ideology that must be crushed. It is the ideology that says, yeah, you won the argument, now I'll kill you. That's what they did to Charlie. That's what they did to Trump. That's what they want to do in Virginia. And Democrats are, based on all available polling, going to elect this person. And then Republicans in Virginia are going to like mow the lawn and look across the street at a guy that voted for someone to genocide them. What kind of a society are you going to run? What does that say about our society? What does that say about who we are? I don't want to genocide the left. I don't want any left-winger to die. I don't. I've never wished for it. I would never call for it, ever, under any circumstance. Put him in a court of law, try him, find him guilty, lock him up, whatever. But like, by extrajudicial means, I do not want and never will call for any of that. And neither would you. I checked the chat, neither do you. There's something fundamentally different. We've been banging on about this for a long time, and now it's just in very stark relief with this story. Incredibly stark relief, man. It is devastating what is happening here. President Trump has called for the total and complete resignation and full investigation, actually, into this candidate. It's come out that radical left lunatic Jay Jones, who is running against Jason Miyares, the great Attorney General of Virginia, made sick and demented jokes, if they were jokes at all, which were not funny. He wrote down and sent to people concerning murdering Republicans, murdering their children, murdering their wives. Abigail Spanberger, she is the lib running for governor there, who is running for governor, is weak and ineffective and refusing to acknowledge what this lunatic has done. More Democrats are saying resignation. This is resignation from campaign territory. Democrat Jay Jones should drop out of the race immediately, and the people of Virginia must continue to have a great attorney general who has my complete and total endorsement. Okay. Look at this. This is how Democrats are reacting. Like, again, you would assume that this would mean, a moment of reflection and consideration. But no. The Virginia Beach Democrats issue a statement which they reaffirm their support for Jay Jones, the Attorney General, and call for all Virginians to line up behind Jay Jones. Otherwise, you'll be lined up in front of a firing squad. Do you understand? Do you understand what time it is? I don't want it to be this time. I like the 90s. I like times when both parties agreed that America is awesome and that we're going to argue over marginal tax rates and healthcare. But we've moved beyond that. We no longer have a functional debate. We no longer have the pressure release valves that were installed for a moral and good people, because we are no longer dealing with a moral or good people. We are dealing with a left-wing terrorist element that wishes to kill us. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Jay Jones has told us that he wants to genocide Republicans. So now that you know that, what are you going to do about it? Well, I mean, the people of Virginia should choose, at the very least, that they want to have an anti-genocide policy. Like that they're against extrajudicial murder of children because of their politics. Seems like the baseline for a functional society. Maybe we're asking too much. Jason Miyares was on Fox News just seconds ago. Reacting to this, let's listen.
You're in a re-election battle. Jay Jones is your opponent. Based on your experience, having been in this office for a while, do you believe that Jay Jones, even after he apologized, would he actually have the temperament needed to be in that job?
Listen, my job as the Attorney General, as a top prosecutor in the state of Virginia, your job is to stop violence. I can't imagine somebody running for this office that has advocated for violence, not just against a colleague, somebody he has worked with, but against children. He literally, in the text messages that have been posted online, when he was called out for his rhetoric, he actually, instead of apologizing, doubled down. And when he said, you literally want Jennifer Gilbert's children to die in her arms, he said yes. That only through pain does change happen. Think about that mindset. Politics aside, that is an incredibly dark place you have to be coming from. To wish the death of small children, by the way, that he has met. They have been to the Capitol before. We all know, we serve each other, we know each other's children. I can't imagine the mindset that is there. And he previously, what set this off is he was angry that Republicans had said nice words about a Democratic colleague at a funeral, that someone that had passed. He said he wanted to piss on their graves. This is not the temperament of somebody that should be running for Attorney General. So I don't view this as a right versus left issue. This is a right versus wrong issue. This is really a question for Virginia of what kind of Virginia we could expect of our leaders, because this is the most basic test of civility and decency, and he has failed this. So I think his apology is fake, because he was called out at the time when he texted this to a colleague. He said this is not appropriate, and he doubled down on it. He is apologizing. He's trying to save his political career because he's a politician. He's not a prosecutor. Because I can tell you right now, Dana, I've met with victims. As a prosecutor, I've actually had to sit through the autopsy of a minor child that died of a gunshot wound. I can't imagine, if you meet with a mother that has lost a child, I will tell you this, there is no cry like the cry of a mother that has lost their child. None. And to so callously advocate this, to murder children of a political rival, means he is wholly disqualified for this office, because when I took this office, I swore an oath not to a political party, but to protect all Virginians, Republicans, Democrats, and independents. I cannot imagine somebody seeking this office and the responsibilities that come to this office, being the top prosecutor, that A, has never prosecuted a case in his life, clearly has never met with victims, and then advocating for the death of children. He's solely disqualified, in my opinion, of serving as the Attorney General of Virginia, and I think the voters are going to disqualify him as well.
Goodness gracious. What timeline are we living in that we even have these conversations? My producers are telling me actually right now that Jason Miyares will be joining the program. It's wonderful to hear. It sounds like he'll be joining quite soon. He wants to hop on and talk to you directly. And so we very much look forward to that. As our team is getting him set, I want to just announce that as a surprise guest here live on the stream. Well done. My producers are also telling me that we should, let's just push one more Jason Miyares commentary on Fox News here just a moment ago, talking about the apology, right? So, Jay Jones has come out and said, I'm really sorry that I want to genocide all you Republicans. I promise I didn't mean it. Wink, wink. Nod, nod. Don't you even worry about it. We'll just keep blasting away at President Trump and Charlie Kirk. We don't actually mean these things. Really good answer here. Let's go.
I don't know this answer, so I'll ask you. Has he apologized to Todd Gilbert directly and his family? Has he called them?
He claimed when this first broke out, when the messages first broke, he said he was sorry for some inappropriate texts, and then he simply tried to attack me, saying that this was somehow a smear campaign. But he admits it. These are his texts. He's admitted he sent them. He claims he has tried to reach out to Todd several hours after the fact. He tried to do damage control. But again, that's why I think this is fake. He was called out contemporaneously when it happened by a colleague, and that's when he doubled down. That's when he doubled down and advocated for the death of small children. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom somebody that is seeking this office with that worldview. To give you an example, Bill, I have a sign outside of my office in Richmond that I see every day when I go into work at the Attorney General's office. It's a quote from Thomas Jefferson. It says, "I have never found a difference of opinion in politics, philosophy, or religion for cause to withdraw from a friend." It reminds me that we have so much more that unites us than divides us. And politics should never even have you withdraw from a friendship. I can't imagine viewing politics as a justification for murdering children. And so I think this is one of the moral tests of our time. What are our politics going to look like forward? Not just for Virginia, for nationwide. I think this is a real inflection point, a time of choosing for us. Do you want an attorney general that my attitude has been, I protect all Virginians? When I've met with victims, I have never once met with the victims and asked them whether they voted for me. Not once. Never once asked them what their political persuasion is. Because my job is they are somebody beautifully and wonderfully made in the image of their creator. My job is to be their protector. I say the attorney general is the people's protector. Not protector of a political party, the people's protector. That's my vision as attorney general. That's the oath I took. That's what I do every day as the attorney general's top prosecutor.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we said, it is an argument of good versus evil, darkness versus light, and people who believe in God and people who don't. Just is what it is. Godliness versus godlessness. Did you hear that? The Attorney General, who will be joining our program, saying, I believe that people are beautifully and wonderfully made. Well, what is that worldview? That is the Christian worldview that says that life has value. Whether you're talking about an abortion clinic or whether you're talking about murdering the living children of your political opponents, you can say as a moral person, it's all wrong. Like, that's wrong. We'd like to find political solutions to ensure that it doesn't happen, that kids don't get murdered, that adults don't get murdered. We're like anti-murder, right? It's one of the big commandments, a pretty big one, something that also Christ talked about a lot, and it's something that like we're not going to do. There's got to be other solutions than that. The left says, nope, that's the end of the argument. I'll just kill you. And we've been seeing that in spades. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Attorney General will be joining our program live in just one moment. We don't know exactly where we're going to be this week. We know that we will be in New Jersey on Friday. We might have some other plans cooked up, some other interesting trips. We'll see. Patriot Mobile will be with us on those trips. Patriot Mobile is the only conservative wireless provider in America. They are fueling the red economy, including our show. We are able to do the kind of things that we do on the road because Patriot Mobile is the backbone of our program. They have the technology that allows us to broadcast from the road, like with mobile hotspots, unlimited data plans, international roaming, and internet backup. Patriot Mobile keeps us locked in and active, especially when we are heading to New Jersey later in the week. We might have to do a pit stop in Virginia. We'll see. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT, and use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we talked about it, I might as well just pop up the promotional graphic. We are going to be in New Jersey. It's going to be exciting. I guess Friday, technically. We made this handy-dandy graphic right here that, was an opportunity for us to put up our Goodfellas vibes. Here, there you go. Thank you. The Goodfellas graphic. This is going to be me, Scott Pressler, and Jack Stitarelli. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be in Wildwood, New Jersey. It's not going to be our only New Jersey stop. This is where Donald Trump did the 100,000 person rally. I think we can bring thousands of people here. We're going to be hitting the bricks. Jack's polling is incredible. He's tied right now in the state of New Jersey. An amazing and incredible opportunity for us to flip a blue state red for us to advance and go on offense. So again, we are going to be locked in this week. If you are in New Jersey or Maryland or Pennsylvania or New York, well, come on down and roll with us. We'll be registering voters. We'll be locking in people for early voting. And we are going to make sure that Jack Ciattarelli is the next governor of the great state of New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. The good fellas are coming in. Real skull crackers here. All right, ladies. Never miss an opportunity to give yourself a nice movie poster from a Scorsese film. Yeah. A lot of violence in Scorsese films. And boy, looks like, that's just Hollywood. But now it looks like our political ecosystem is about as violent as a Scorsese film. It's terrible. Something that obviously you don't need any convincing of after watching President Trump and Charlie Kirk both get shot in the head by left-wingers, along with, again, thousands and thousands and thousands of other countless acts of violence from the left. We witnessed a lot of that when we were in Chicago with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem last Friday. But now, of course, in Virginia, we were able to see it on full display. Sometimes the violence just sort of comes from a dark terrorist element of the left. Now it's coming from the top. As we have been covering here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Jones, running for Attorney General in Virginia, openly fantasizes about murdering Republicans and their children. Joining us live right now is his Republican opponent in the state of Virginia, Jason Miyares. Welcome to the show. Mr. Attorney General, thank you so much for being on. What a wild time that we are seeing right now in America. I don't like how much political violence there is, especially on the street. It seems to predominantly be coming from the left, almost exclusively from the left. And I think that's because they're getting signals from their leaders that violence is permissible. And that, I believe, is what we're seeing here in the state of Virginia. Your reaction to these text messages, and more importantly, Mr. Attorney General, why has no Democrat disavowed this monster?
Well, I mean, listen, when you're the Attorney General of Virginia, you're the top prosecutor of the state. Your job is to stop violence. I can't imagine somebody running for this office that has advocated for violence, not just against a political opponent, but advocated violence against small children. Yeah. That's probably what is the most shocking. If you look at the text exchange he had with a colleague, about somebody he had served with, worked with, about children that he had met. The speaker would bring his children to the assembly. And when he was called out on, listen, you're advocating for hoping that the children of Jennifer Gilbert would die. He said, yes. He said, actually, pain is the only way change occurs. Think about politics aside. This is not a right versus left issue. In many ways, this is now a right versus wrong issue. I've said this is now a referendum in Virginia on what kind of Commonwealth, what kind of Virginia are we going to be that our leaders are failing the most basic test of decency. And I think obviously the Charlie Kirk assassination shocked all of us. But the idea and the point that I made when Charlie Kirk, he was not obviously murdered because of the Second Amendment. He was murdered because of the First Amendment. He had no power other than the power of ideas. He had no power. He wasn't a congressman, a governor, or mayor. He never signed laws into effect or drafted laws. He just had ideas. And the idea that there are people that view on the far, far left that ideas can be silenced is shocking. But even more shocking, you have somebody literally running to be the top law enforcement officer of the state that has advocated for violence against children. I never thought I would live in Virginia. This is even a debate. And, other Democrats have said, well, these are reprehensible. He should be held accountable. But they never say what accountability looks like. Think about that. And listen, Benny, I have a sign outside of my office in Richmond. I see every day when I go in the office. It's a quote from Thomas Jefferson. And it is this: I have never found a difference of opinion in politics, in philosophy, or religion as cause to withdraw from a friend. It's just a reminder for me that at the end of the day, we're all made in the image of our Creator. We are Americans. I can't imagine that kind of mindset that I bring to my job as Attorney General, which I'm the people's protector. I'm protecting everyone, no matter what your background, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, to have the mindset that it's okay to inflict pain on a man's family to advance a political agenda. To me, that just beyond shocks the conscience. I think it's a moment of choosing, as I've noted in Virginia.
Yeah, Mr. Attorney General, I think that we've recognized quite the pattern here, which is that if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe that people were created and that they have the divine mark of a creator and that they are inherently, inalienably valuable and have rights, then you're going to be willing to slaughter them for power. And you've seen this in every Bolshevik revolution and every Marxist revolution, communist revolution throughout the world in the last 100 years. This is obviously the number one body count for any political ideology is godless communism that says that people are just numbers on a ledger and you just get rid of them for power.
Yeah.
And I believe that's actually what we're seeing here. It seems like godliness versus godlessness, where you can really justify just the murder of human beings if they're inconvenient to you or your political ideology.
Well, if you know my background, the Miyares family fled communist Cuba. And I remember asking my mother, how did this happen? I love to point out the year Fidel Castro took power in Cuba, Cuba had the same GDP as Greece. The year he died, it had the same GDP as Sudan. Socialism never works. But I said, how did Cuba descend into this? And my mother told me this. She said, everyone in society, once the communists took over, both in academia, with their state-controlled media, with Castro and his cronies, everyone in society was labeled one of two categories, oppressor or oppressed. My mother said this to me. She said, you can always justify evil if you claim you're doing it against the oppressor on behalf of the so-called oppressed. And that is a mindset. Obviously, you've noted moments of history dating back to the Jacobins. And you are right. Communism has the largest body count in human history. But listen, I want to be clear. Whenever I've met with a victim of a violent crime, I've never asked them their political persuasion. And I started off as a prosecutor. Crime knows no political boundaries. And I will tell you this, Benny, when you've met with crime victims, when you've met with a mom that has lost a child, there's no cry like the cry of a mother that's lost a child. I can't imagine then wishing that on small children yourself and then asking people to hire you to be the top prosecutor. It tells me that he's not ready for the job. It's telling me he's never met with victims. He's never been to a crime scene. He's never actually experienced the requirements of what's required in this job. And so we have to realize the biggest evil we can ever have in a society is this notion that ideas matter more than people. And like you, I'm a person of faith. One of my articles of my faith is a Latin term, imago Dei. It simply means just image of God. It means everybody I ever meet, no matter who they are, where they are in life, they just have immediate, amazing value because they're made in the image of their creator. Yes. The idea that you would wish a violent death on young children to prove a political point shows that you're just morally unfit for the office, in my opinion.
Yes. So can you explain a little bit why you are seeing so much of a protection mechanism around Jay Jones that is being reinforced? Democrat Party is doubling down on this. Democrat voters in Virginia are going to vote for this guy if he makes it to the election. And what are they signaling to their Republican neighbors? Do you live in is Virginia a failed state? Is it a failed society where the millions of Democrats that are registered in Virginia will willingly vote for the murder of their neighbors and their children? They'll put that man as the top law enforcement official who wishes to genocide them. And these are like real questions, because he said he wants to do this, and you should believe people when they say things like this, especially when the left is putting bullets into the heads of Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. They shot them both in the head. And so you got to believe these people. And what does it say about Virginia when presumably millions of Democrats will go out and vote for the murder of their Republican neighbors' children? Dark.
Well, listen, first of all, and I know I'm biased, I'm a Virginian, this is the most remarkable state, not just because of our history or ties to our founders. This is a remarkable place with remarkable people. The number of veterans we hear outpace every other state. We are good and decent people. Yes. I'm fully confident the Virginians are going to reject reject this type of political discourse. And you've actually brought up a point where nobody's held them accountable yet. No, the Democrats continue. I mean, think about Abigail Spanberger. If someone who was applying to be in Abigail Spanberger's cabinet, and it turned out, let's just say the Secretary of Public Safety in Virginia, somebody was applying, it turned out they had advocated for violence against the children of a political opponent. Would she still hire them? No. But she's still saying, you know what, I'm still willing to campaign with him. I'm not asking him to drop out of the race. I'm perfectly happy for him to be the top prosecutor in the state. That is an amazing lack of judgment, in my opinion, that someone would still have that mindset, that power is so important that it trumps decency. That is a shocking thing to see by Abigail and some other people right now in Virginia. But I know this, Virginians are good and decent people. They're going to reject this type of politics because as I said, this is no longer necessarily a campaign, at least in Virginia, between right and left. It's between right versus wrong. It's a basic test of moral decency. Jay Jones has failed it. And I'm confident that Virginians are going to reject this type of politics this fall.
Yeah. I mean, how do you run a state when there are 2 million registered Republicans in Virginia? How can you run a state when the top law enforcement official is okay with the murder of them and their children? You can't. It's not a functional society. It's a collapsed society. It's a sectarian violence, civil war society. And so like I pray that doesn't happen. I do find it remarkable though that more Democrats haven't disavowed this. Every Democrat put their little hat on, including Barack Obama all the way on down, and ran to cover for Jimmy Kimmel and lost their minds when Jimmy Kimmel, got put in timeout for making a nasty joke about Charlie Kirk and lying about his murder. They defended him. Yet none of those I don't see any tweets from Barack Obama about Jay Jones and how evil it is to call for the murder of Republicans. What's going on there, Mr. Attorney General?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, that goes back to ideas. Once ideas matter more than people, then that puts you in a very, very dark place where you could justify anything. And when power matters more than people. And so I do view this as the test of basic decency. Jay Jones has clearly failed that test. That's where we are. But listen, I have great faith in Virginians. I have great faith they're going to see through this. I would like to see more leadership from other Democrats nationally, because what they should be doing is saying, this is politics aside, put politics aside. This is a failure of basic decency. This is not just a one-off. This is somebody who was had too much to drink. Just so you know the background of this text started because he was angry that Republicans had attended a funeral and said nice things about a Democratic member of the legislature, Joe Johnston, who had passed away. And in his words, I would piss on the grave of my opponents. That's how this whole exchange with a colleague started. He was upset that Republicans said something nice about a Democrat. Think about that mindset. Think about what place you have to be. And then when he was called out, when he said he wanted to put 2 bullets in Todd Gilbert's head, when he was called out, that is when he doubled down and said, yes, I want to see his children die in his mother's arms. That is a place I don't want to see anybody elevated to be elected a local councilman, much less be the top law enforcement leader in the state of Virginia. Not acceptable behavior, disqualifying.
It's totally sick. I want to give you just the last word here, Mr. Attorney General, about morality. You keep using sort of the John Adams term about America, a good and decent and moral people. And this Constitution and our founding documents are written for none other. And they actually won't work if you don't have those people in America. And maybe give an opportunity to talk to us about how you would never find text like this in your phone because you're a Christian and because you believe in Christ and you believe in the Bible and you actually believe in these morals. Maybe you could make a moral separation, right, for permissibility of murder versus non-permissibility.
Well, listen, I mean, there's no justification for taking someone's life. My uncle was arrested at Bay of Pigs evasion and went through a mock execution under Castro's regime because of ideas, because he had handed out anti-Castro leaflets. You can never justify violence to try to silence an opponent. But listen, a wise Marine once told me that if you go to Arlington National Cemetery and you walk among those crosses and those stars of David's, you actually don't see an R or a D next to anyone's name. And never forget, someone who thinks differently than you politically is given the last full measure of devotion to this remarkable country. that has always struck with me. In other words, we have big debates about big ideas. Scalia said, I may disagree vehemently on ideas. I may attack ideas. I'm not going to attack people. And I don't view somebody who thinks differently than me politically as my enemy. They may be sincerely wrong. And given the fact that I've seen how dangerous some of these ideas can be, but I can never imagine advocating for violence against someone that I disagree with politically, much less their young children that I have met. That's just shocking to me. And candidly, it has been a lot of processing for me this weekend, where I thought I knew Jay Jones. I served with him briefly in the General Assembly, wasn't ever friends with him in that sense, knew who he was, would see him at events and would see him in the chambers. You think you know somebody, clearly I didn't.
So in conclusion here, and let's please put up the Attorney General's social media to make sure that everybody fights with the people who are fighting for us. You want him to drop out? You think he should drop out? Do you think there should be any investigation here? I mean, do you think there should be further action potentially to see if he meant this? Like, what are you calling for to happen with Jay Jones?
Listen, I think he's disqualified himself. I think he has to make that decision whether he wants to continue to stay in this race. I think Virginians are going to find him disqualifying and vote against him. But if people want to follow me, they can follow me on Twitter, Jason Miyares VA. They can also just Google or put in jasonforvirginia.com, Jason Miyares. Like my last name's Cuban, so it's a little different. The I is pronounced like an E. But if you tune in jasonforvirginia.com, you can go in. You can also support me because what I would say as well is we want to make sure that we win this race, that we are sending a message across the nation. No more. No more silencing voices, no more advocating for violence. There will be a price to pay when you're openly saying that you want to murder small children, murder a fellow political opponent. That type of language needs to end.
Goodness, yes. Yes, thank you. We're done losing friends, and we're done losing icons and thought leaders in our movement due to left-wing violence. And when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And you should believe Jason Miyares. Here is his social media handles and also his campaign webpage. Please, everyone, go and fight with Jason and ensure that we have a godly and good and moral Virginia and is preserved by strong moral men like this. Thank you very much, Mr. Attorney General. Godspeed.
Thank you, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I check in with my producers here, excuse me, I want to just make sure. Yeah, I would just want to make sure that we're locked and loaded for the rest of the show. Okay, great. You guys have got to make a call here. You know, you guys are going to have to make a call. I make a call every single night. I eat my masa chips. I know I don't eat everything. Again, you know this. I'm not going to say a thing if I don't believe it. And I can bring you photographic evidence that they'll send me a box of masa chips and they'll be gone about 24 hours in my house. We love these things. We love them. Here's an example. Oh, thank you for having this example, team. This is an example. This is what my wife makes. It's like a fajita plate, right? It's got some snacks with it. And there's the masa chips. We're snacking these suckers. Why? No seed oils, 3 ingredients: corn, salt, beef tallow. That's it. That's those are the ingredients. It's all natural. It doesn't make you feel bad. It doesn't make you feel bloated. They're incredible. They're delicious. That's it. That's all you got to know. Like when you're eating a normal chip, you're just slamming seed oils. You're just slamming petroleum. It's bad. That's why you feel gross afterwards. Eat masa chips, man. Give masa a try. Go to masachips.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 25% off your first order. Masachip.com/Benny. Code Benny for 25% off your first order. And if you don't want to order online, starting this month, they will be available at your local Sprouts supermarket. So go pick up a bag right now. Okay. Rock and roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, looking through my producer chat to tell me where am I going from here. Somebody needs to make a call. So who do we want? What do we want to do? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are moving on to the further To further hellscape in our nation, the city of Chicago. We were in Chicago last week. Trump is now sending in 400 National Guard troops to Chicago. What we saw last week was really bad. We saw a bunch of terrorists, left-wing terrorists, attack the ICE facility. And then the day that we left Chicago, there was another terrorist attack where a bunch of cars surrounded an ICE vehicle, rammed it, and then they the agents had to shoot. The agents had to blast out of the vehicle, had to get out of the vehicle and discharge their firearms because some of the people that were ramming the car, they were armed. Look at this. This is the footage of the attack. I mean, it is like a sunken and broken society. And by the way, their local law enforcement are being told not to help, which is actually aiding and abetting terrorism against the federal government. And it should be charged. It absolutely should be charged. We watched all these arrests. Here's my footage of libs. We called it the lib lineup of all these libs getting arrested. Every one of these libs assaulted federal police forces that were just trying to make it so that Secretary Kristi Noem could walk. She wasn't even walking. She could drive out of the ICE facility. Gross. So at least a dozen arrests. They also had to have a sniper position up on the roof. The sniper position, it was unbelievable. I've never seen like a federal building, domestically with a sniper. And the reason why you have to have a sniper up on the roof is because Antifa and left-wing terrorists are so violent that they might have, it was conceivable that they could try and attack and murder the Secretary of Homeland Security. So you have to ensure that you have an overwatch. Remember, Charlie Trump shot from elevated positions. There was no overwatch in those shootings and murders. And so this is what you now have to have. You have to have an overwatch. It was crazy what we witnessed. We did a full documentary. I encourage you to go watch it. And this is some of our documentary footage here. It's up available on YouTube right now. And you can see just kind of like the full day that we had all this footage shot by us. It's a very cool experience. And we'll see. We'll see. We may have more of this coming. This was a wild time. Put the documentary up, please. Thank you. Again, this full documentary is available on our YouTube of our day, and you can see a ton of behind the scenes. We like going out and showing you this because, well, quite frankly, it's really important that we establish what is happening in our country right now. There is a domestic terrorist element. There is no correlation, no other example, no both sidesism that you can show of anyone on the right behaving like this against federal police. You can't, there is no such thing. There is no such thing. They've been attacking this ICE station for months. Same thing in Portland for months with knives and bricks and sticks and rocks and explosives and now firearms. And what has the local authorities done? The local authorities have told their police to help the terrorists. In a moment, we're going to have Nick Sotor on, who's someone who was just arrested in Portland for filming and reporting on Antifa. This is the total and complete collapse of a society when the police are there aiding and abetting the terrorists. Here's Tricia McLaughlin from DHS explaining.
The chief of patrol told local police to not act.
Who told the chief of patrol?
We believe this comes from the top. It looks like J.B. Pritzker is putting politics ahead of public safety, ahead of our law enforcement, their safety. The facts on the ground are the fact that our law enforcement were being rammed by vehicles, about 10 vehicles, one of which had a semi-automatic firearm on her. She also had a history of trying to dox and encouraging the threatening of these agents. After this incident occurred, after this attack occurred, our law enforcement were then surrounded by a violent crowd who began to throw bottles and rocks at our agents. They called for backup from the local police department, but no, they wouldn't respond. And in fact, our ICE ERO agents had to respond, who were later actually then attacked again with a vehicle as they were trying to respond. There's viral images of that going on across the internet. So we're seeing that more and more of these violent activists are using their vehicles as a weapon, as a tactic against our law enforcement. J.B. Pritzker, though, our message to him, go walk your streets. Go see the violent crime against your constituents. Go see the violent crime against our own law enforcement, because he continues to go on CNN and MSNBC and whitewash the facts. He's saying that we're using racial profiling to go after people. That's absolutely not true. We are targeting criminals who have perpetuated very horrendous violence against the people of Chicago, and yet he continues to lie on air and say that we are arresting children, zip tying children. These are fake images that have continued to be debunked. J.B. Pritzker needs to get a spine. He needs to stand up for the people of Chicago, because if not, we will continue to flood the zone and surge federal resources to make sure the people of Chicago and the people of Illinois are safe again.
I don't care if you don't like ICE. I don't care if you want to vote Trump out. You really hate Trump and you're so upset about it. And you watch Jimmy Kimmel all night. Like, that doesn't matter to me. Like, good for you. You're an American. Like, whatever. What you're not allowed to do is attack the agents and try and kill them. Like, what kind of country are we running here? What you're not allowed to do is arrest the independent journalists who are telling the story. I'm very honored to have had the story of our day told by Jesse Waters in his coverage. It's very cool. Here's a really quick wrap up.
Queens in Chicago. Kristi Noem at the quarters of the mostly peaceful protesters that they've been bombarding. Noem hit the roof to scope out the sniper's nest. The ICE picketers were getting rough and rowdy. Ouch. You mess with ICE, you get the cuffs.
You got a dozen arrests over here. They're yelling at you. What's your message to the overall leftists who want to be violent in America today?
You know, leave. Leave this country. We don't want you. Go away. Or we'll put you in jail.
If you thought the street crew was angry, wait until you see who's inside. A couple of detained hombres stared down Noem from their cell. Sorry, boys. Kristi doesn't have any marks for you. Just a one-way ticket to Brazil. Careful, if you keep mean-mugging her, you might end up in Uganda. Then Noem went to City Hall. They weren't happy either.
Can we use the restroom? No, you cannot.
We can?
Please don't close the door. Please don't close the door.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Interesting. That's what Governor Pritzker says is cooperation in keeping people safe.
You know, we love doing these things. You know, we were just kind of like just along for the ride with Kristi Noem. Again, we did go on ICE raids. We did arrest people. I didn't do it, but the agents who have the federal authority to do it, they arrested criminal aliens. There were like so many there. It was, they didn't even need to try hard. We pulled it in a Walmart parking lot and half the parking lot goes and jumps the fence. That's a matter. I'm not making a joke. That's like a matter of fact. That's what happened. And then like 10 or more cars just speed off, right? At full blast, like burning rubber, filled with criminal aliens. They're just everywhere in Chicago. Like, what would happen to Chicago if they actually deported all of them? Well, we went through a brand new facility. Very interesting. Here's what it looks like. Kristi Noem, instead of being intimidated by this, is going to double and triple down and supercharge the deportations in Chicago. Of course, we all know why Chicago Democrats want the criminal aliens there. They need the criminal votes, of course, to keep winning Illinois. If they didn't have the criminal aliens, would Trump win Illinois in his 18 electoral votes? Of course he would. And Democrats would never win again. So they have to keep packing criminal aliens into Chicago. And the Trump administration's response is, why not buy this massive warehouse? We went through this warehouse with Kristi Noem and turn this into the new Alligator Alcatraz. Now, we've been to Alligator Alcatraz as well. It was great. But you can't call this Alligator Alcatraz. You have to call it something else. And we tried to workshop this with Kristi Noem, and I was given an order to try and come up with something. And here's what we came up with. The Deep Dish Deportation Depot. You were right, Klein. I'm going to call that clip. Yep, you were right. And, you know, I posted that, and it got some pickup. Sent it around. DHS really loves it. Deep Dish Deportation Depot. The alliteration, obviously, is just too easy. Alligator Alcatraz just rolls off the tongue. Same thing here. And so I think that this was a win. And then I saw this local news report, and then I knew it was a win. Boy, wow. Let me give you a praise report. I'm howling with laughter seeing this. Here we go.
More new video here at the live desk. This is from the conservative podcaster Benny Johnson. He, alongside DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, toured a building here in the Chicago area that will reportedly soon house undocumented migrants, with the nickname Deep Dish Deportation Center already circulating. Now,
don't ever let him tell you. Don't ever let him tell you that you can't change the country for good. Don't ever let him tell you. Don't ever let him tell you that you can't contribute a note to this great symphony of a land that we live in. We have Nick Sotor, who'll be joining us in just a minute. And Kristi Noem sounded off on Nick Sotor. Of course, this same day, Nick was still in prison at this time. Nick was arrested by the Portland police for simply defending himself against a violent Antifa attack. And Kristi Noem has now promised that in Nick's honor, she's going to send in the Department of War into Portland. Here we go.
We've seen a lot of attacks in Portland, a lot of news right now with various independent journalists that have been beat, that have been hit in the face, that have been locked up and arrested. What's going on there? Can you give us any status update?
Well, you've got a presence in Portland that is Antifa affiliated. And so that is a situation where you have known professionals, targeted violence that want to tear down America and will apparently attack anyone, even journalists that are just trying to report the truth of what's happening on the streets. So we're not just going to be rolling out of Chicago here, but we're sending in the Department of War at the request that I made to Secretary Hegseth. They're going to be rolling in here within the next 24 hours. Wow. They'll be coming to Chicago too. I put a request in today for them to come to Chicago. And we're going to not only have our officers that are out there with HSI and ICE, but we're also going to have backup from our military because everybody deserves that. And so what we saw happen to that journalist last night will not happen again. We will not allow that to happen again, where those individuals are persecuted for trying to show what's happening on our streets and for what they're doing to our law enforcement officers.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live right now, the man who we were talking about in that clip, Nick Sotor, who is, I think, live from Portland. Let's check. Hey, Nick, what up, G? How are you?
I'm doing, Benny. I am live in Portland, actually, just not outside the ICE facility this time, because unless I have a security detail while I do these live hits, I mean, at this point, I'm putting myself in serious danger by doing hits outside the ICE facility.
Yeah, bro, like the night before you were arrested, and I want to talk about that, but you were doing a live hit with Laura Ingraham and they kept attacking you during that live hit. I think you were attacked also, perhaps, like last night. And I texted you and I was like, like I was with Kristi Noem and I was telling her that they're going to try, they want to kill more. And you got to have security just to exist out in the street, man. It's crazy. I'm like really
in the United States of America.
I'm really thankful that you're alive. I mean, I really am.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Benny. But it's wild to me that just existing out here as a conservative is an act of violence in their minds for some reason. I mean, multiple times yesterday they told me they were going to Charlie Kirk me, and which is just a ridiculous thing to say to somebody. They threatened. I get intel sent to me about like when threats are made online, like specific threats from credible threats from people in the area, and you get people saying that they're going to throw concrete milkshakes at me, which are that's what gave Andy Ngo a brain bleed. I mean, these people are incredibly violent, and you're seeing all this rhetoric from the left that's pushing them on. It's egging them on. That's why this keeps happening. You're not seeing. Did a single Democrat come out and condemn the attack on Katie Davenport, or my arrest, or hell, even my me being assaulted last night? I don't know if you've seen that video, but
I think we have it.
Not a good look.
I think we have it. Let's pop it up, boys. Is this the one, Nick? Yeah, this is from last night. This is you with the American flag, and it looks like someone's trying to grab you or throw you.
Yeah, they took the American flag there from me, and I ran back and got it. I was not going to let that flag go. That's the same flag that I saved from being burned in the street the other day. So the point of what I was
the ball's
doing,
on you, man, but like I'm worried. This is the same city that they executed a Trump supporter in 2020. People have forgotten about that story, but they executed this guy because he was wearing a MAGA hat. And these people, they're not only are they godless demons, but they have nothing to lose. And so, boy, I'm just glad to see that it looks like you have a little security now, or at least some people at your back.
Yeah, but I mean, the Portland police are in. They're not particularly useful. They don't intervene until actually they never intervene. They come later and arrest. In this case, a guy that his name is Tommy, who in that video, some Antifa thug was running after me with bear spray, and he KO'd him in the street. He was defending me. And none of the people that attacked me in this video were arrested, but the guy that defended me, he was wearing a MAGA hat. He knocked the dude out cold that was chasing after me. He got arrested, which is not surprising at this point. I mean, there's very, very little accountability. Pretty much no accountability for these Antifa terrorists.
For everyone who was following, obviously, it was the #1 trending story in the world. The president was briefed on it. The attorney general, I actually saw her this weekend. She was very concerned about what happened to you. Kristi Noem was incredibly concerned. Her entire team was. Her team was telling me that they were considering dispatching ICE to the prison that you were held at because they were worried for your well-being, because you could be imprisoned with a bunch of people that wanted you dead, and you'd be just locked in a cell with them. Yeah. Something terrible could happen to you. Maybe you could just break down what occurred with this arrest, and then what the reaction has been.
Yeah. So I was basically, my crime was filming in public, which is a capital crime out here in Portland. Oh. So. And there's actually a video that I've gotten that's from a third party that shows, it's this one right here, that shows me I'm literally attempting to walk to my car. That's where I'm going, down the sidewalk here, and this thug pushes me, tries to restrict my movement, and then throws a punch at me. And so and then I end up in this hole right here. And somehow I'm the aggressor. I'm the aggressor, and I'm the one that ends up getting arrested, while the assailant just walks free. The assailant was never arrested. And of course, and I'm telling you this here for the first time, that we have identified the person, and of course it is trans. I mean, big shock.
Wow.
It's just the trans violence. You think it's a big problem in other parts of the country. It's especially a problem in Portland, because half the freaking population decided that they're trans. At least the leftist population, anyway.
So they go and rat you out to the cops. The cops go arrest you. So
I don't even know. So I don't know how that actually happened. When they were putting me in handcuffs at this point, I was so shocked that I was being put in handcuffs. There were two things that went through my mind. It's either A, they're handcuffing me so that I can, or so that they can get me out of there or something, because it was getting too too hot and they knew something, so they were acting like they were arresting me to like bring me down the block or something, or B, it was a total mistake, a case of mistaken identity. I mean, at no point in the first like 5 or 6 minutes did I believe I was actually being arrested.
I did see this happen with Posobiec one time, where the police like technically took him to get him away from Antifa. This happened in Washington, D.C. Pretty famous, famous photo. And so that's what when I saw this clip, I assumed that was happening to you, right? Where the police were just simply surrounding you in order to say, let's depressurize the situation. But that's not what happened. They arrested you.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then what did they charged you with a misdemeanor?
Yeah, they charged me with disorderly conduct because apparently my filming is much more disorderly than the screaming in the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning, blocking traffic.
Put the clip up again. Put the clip up again of what they did to Nick. Because not only are they swinging on you, Nick, like they're trying to obstruct people who are filming. This was a planned attack. They were trying to obstruct. You can see the umbrellas. The black umbrellas are trying to what they're trying to do. This is a coordinated attack to try and like kill or harm Nick, where they surround you with black umbrellas and then they commit a violent act where no one can film it. That's how these people work. Yep. Is that what they were doing to you, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the umbrellas were everywhere this particular night. You can see at just the time that punch was thrown, that umbrella almost covered the lens. It just didn't fully cover the lens, but that was the entire goal. Okay, cover the camera lens and throw the punch, and hopefully nobody sees it. However, that's not the case. You can clearly see the punch, luckily, and then you can also see they use these umbrellas as weapons too.
Right.
They use. I mean, they stab you with it, and that's how I ended up in the hole.
You can see right there, clear as day. Somebody multiple people with black umbrellas pushing and barraging you, and then attempting physical assault. And then if you had been knocked out, Lord knows what else could have happened. This is like a clear-cut case of self-defense, but not only that, of you actually trying to flee the situation in order to de-escalate. You are clearly the person attempting to de-escalate the situation. You are not behaving criminally at all, Nick.
Yeah, and I have court today at 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Goodness.
I believe that there's going to be a lot of detractors there, but we'll have some supporters there for sure. I mean, these people don't have jobs, Benny, so they can be dispatched to the courthouse to yell at me on the way in. I expect that. But any DA that is not even is at least a little bit, just a smidge objective, would be able to look at this video and be like, oh, this is total BS.
Yes.
But I don't think that's going to happen here in Portland. I believe that they're going to carry the charge through because they don't want to look like they're, they want to make sure the conservative guy is going to actually, have to spend a shit ton of money and have to be burdened by coming back to court every, couple of months out here in Portland. I mean, they're going to try to make it hell for me if they can.
Do you have a GoFundMe set up? Do you have
anything
that we can?
No, because I typically don't do that because I don't want people to think that this is some sort of a grift. I do this on my own. I do this to cover the news on the ground. I don't do this for money. So no, I didn't do any of that.
I think I'm going to set up one, whether you like it or not. And I might set up one just to cover security expenses for independent creators. Frankly,
I think that would be
I'm kind of sick of Republican billionaires. Like, I'm kind of sick of Republican billionaires like going in and like funding like another stupid white paper that'll do absolutely nothing, or some parasitic like dumb jackass in Washington D.C. that's just trying to grift. And the people that are out changing culture like can't even do it with like a security detail. And those don't have to be expensive. There's a lot of people that'll like cut their rates, frankly, just to like defend freedom and freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to like work on that.
That's actually a really good idea, Benny. I'd just have a general fund for it. That'd be awesome, because I mean, I think that part of the idea of what they're doing out here is, they're doing these things to people like me, knowing that other people are going to be scared off from doing the same thing.
That's right.
That's part
That's
of
right.
the point. There's
That's right.
terror.
And they would never touch you if you had like an actual guard with you, because these people are all total cowards, and they would never ever want to, receive a punch in return or, get pushback. But also these security guards, so what they want here is they want they would like some type of terrible tragedy, right? They'd like some type of like awful thing to happen, God forbid. And these professional security guards are trained in de-escalation. And so they just like, I want you to be able to like do your job without getting hurt, and for them to be de-escalated. Like what they want is for you to be, like maimed or worse on the sidewalk, and then something bad to happen to one of them, who knows? And then they can make it a national news story and like champion it, right, as right-wing violence. That's what they want. So I think that'd be really wise actually to do that. I'm going to work on that today. See if we can start a fund, get some donors in, and just get to some key creators, like some security, to make sure that you can go do your job.
I love it, Benny. That's a damn good idea.
Okay. Well, I know you have a court date today. It looks like the Trump administration has your total back. I know this is a fact, actually, because I was riding around with Kristi Noem, and she asked like 15 questions about you. And everyone was like was very, very laser focused on making sure that you were taken care of. And even President Trump reached out to you. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, I was very honored by the outpouring of support. It gave a lot of, fuel to continue down this road. Clearly we were over target here, exposing what's going on in Portland, or else the police wouldn't have gone out of their way to arrest me. I don't know what they thought this was going to accomplish for them. I guess they just wanted to, somebody gets arrested, like typically they'd be like super frazzled and go home, right? Definitely not going to do that. I actually extended my stay here by a week due to the arrest. So that whole thing backfired tremendously. But, one of the first things I got was a phone call from Attorney General Bondi when I got out of jail. And I really appreciated that. She took a long time out of her day to, she called me on her cell phone. And told me to reach out if I need anything at all from this case, and then gave me the news on the phone that she was ordering Harmeet Dillon, who was a freaking badass, Benny, to go after and investigate the Portland Police Bureau, which is corrupt and rotted from the inside out, and she got on it immediately, as you guys are showing right now. So not just for me though, which is great, because I don't want this whole thing to be about me. It's also about Katie Davenport, who got beat with a pole in the middle of the street, and police just let the attacker walk away. They were hoping that just nobody would know about it, that nobody would hear about it, and it's not worked out in their favor. Let's just say that much.
So I want to just get your commentary on one thing, because this is now nationalized, this local issue. It's very hard to do that, frankly, Nick. It's very hard to take like these local. It's easy to be like, I live in Florida, I don't care about Portland. Who cares, right? Yeah. Like, let them burn. But when what you've done is you've expanded this to the national consciousness, and now people know about it and they're following it. And there's something remarkable happened, where there was a large group of patriots out the night after your arrest, cheering for ICE. And I want to let's get some sound here. USA! 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 They're like, USA! Can you explain this? Like, has there been like a bit of a sea change now that people understand and can see what's going on? Like, what's happening here?
Dude, you should see the amount of patriots that have come out. Like after my arrest, there's a large group like this every night now.
Wow.
Of different people that are just filtering in with MAGA hats on and clear. So I'm standing up on the roof in this video. I'm right in the middle next to. I got two operators on each side, because they were the freaking leftist degenerates were throwing things at me as I was standing on the rooftop, which was very satisfying, because they throw something at me and they immediately get showered with pepper balls, which is entertaining to watch, to say the least. But these guys came out here. They saw me up on the roof. They started cheering and chanting because, you know, I had been brought in on the inside at this point rather than being on the outside. ICE made a statement by bringing me in and putting me up on the roof that day. We'll just say you can understand how they feel about Portland police just based on because Portland police is right out of the frame on that side, so they knew everything that was going on. But these guys, they came, they brought energy with them, and this video went super viral of these young, a lot of them were high schoolers coming out, and they were drowning out all the leftists that were in that area. And every time that the leftists would start yelling something stupid through their megaphone, at me on the roof, they would totally just drown them out with either chants of USA, USA, or Nick. I mean, they were not taking the leftist BS there. And eventually the megaphone people just gave up and shut up. So we need more of this. Like, I want to see this every single night.
Amazing. This is incredible work, Nick. I thank God that you are safe. We will work very hard to ensure that you remain safe. Maybe we'll make the Secure Freedom Fund and help support a conservative independent creator with security so they can just go tell the truth. I think that this is sort of like this is where we are now, Nick, and maybe it's time for Republican donor. You know, the left wing, the way I look at it is the left wing billionaires fund terrorist organizations to kill us. Right. So, like, right-wing billionaires should counter that, right, by ensuring that there is protection. And so, perhaps that's where we move now. Well, Godspeed. We'll be covering your trial. Make sure that you or your hearing, and let me know anything else I can do for you, Nick. Obviously, this is Nick's account. He has millions of followers. He is one of the single most powerful and what's the right way to put this, Nick? Pound for pound, post for post, this is the most effective journalist in America, I would argue. The way that he does his work and the way that he is breaking news, there's really none better than Nick Sotor if you want to know what's actually happening on the ground and at the epicenter of the news cycle. So please go follow Nick. Pray for him. Godspeed, man.
Thank you, Benny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very short clip here that I wanted to frame up, because what you're going to see is us doing a little more campaigning. Partner in crime for me, Scott Presler. Good dude. He was on Fox News this morning talking about why I am going to New Jersey on Friday and why I may be going to Virginia and why we are going to be saving California. Scott Presler is someone who has been fighting this fight to flip purple or blue states red. He won in Pennsylvania. You could argue that Scott Presler won Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. And here's Scott Presler talking about New Jersey specifically, and talking about why we are going there this week and what we are going to accomplish as we flip New Jersey from blue to red. Let's go.
For sure. Since the last gubernatorial race, the GOP has added 167,000 voters in New Jersey, while Democrats have lost over 47,000. You are a part of the reason that is happening in getting voters to turn out for Republicans. But when it comes to issues and politics on the ground, look at those numbers there. Why is this happening?
Let's be real. Lockdown Phil Murphy is the reason why so many people are now joining the Republican Party. And I have a message for the viewer at home. If you want to ban offshore wind, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down property taxes, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down electricity prices, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want school choice, vote Jack Ciattarelli. This is your candidate.
The effort to boost GOP voter turnout in key races and has been on the ground in New Jersey, and he joins me now. Scott, thank you for joining us. Okay, so the latest Fox News poll has Mikey Sherrill up by 8 points. You say that it's closer than that. Is that right?
Absolutely. Anyone who says that Mikey cheating scandal Cheryl is up by 8 right now, that is baloney. Don't listen to the polls. The only poll that matters is on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, Election Day.
What makes you think that it's tighter than 8 points?
From what we're seeing on the ground, this is a state that went double digits for Joe Biden and went within 5 percentage points for President Donald Trump. And in Passaic County, we are seeing the beautiful Hispanic community come over to the Republican Party in a way that we haven't seen before. We are courting minority communities, and that's why Mikey cheating scandal Cheryl is so scared.
All right, I hear the nickname. That's your words, not mine. This is something that's helping Jack Ciattarelli for sure. Since the last gubernatorial race, the GOP has added 167,000 voters in New Jersey, while Democrats have lost over 47,000. You are a part of the reason that that is happening in getting voters to turn out for Republicans. But when it comes to issues and politics on the ground, look at those numbers there. Why is this happening?
Let's be real. Lockdown Phil Murphy is the reason why so many people are now joining the Republican Party. And I have a message for the viewer at home. If you want to ban offshore wind, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down property taxes, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down electricity prices, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want school choice, vote Jack Ciattarelli. This is your candidate. We are no longer going to bow down to the Democrats in Trenton. And this is time for the people in New Jersey to take back your state, and I ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 for Jack Ciattarelli for governor.
What are the issues that matter most to people that you're talking to? Any surprising issues that you're hearing about?
It's the economy. I hear so many people, Scott, my property taxes are crushing my working class family. I'm forced to look to move to Florida. This election is going to impact a lot of people, and it's going to be the economy.
Okay, so why should voters outside of New Jersey care about this race? Do you see this as a bellwether?
It is. Momentum begets momentum. If people want to support President Trump, if they want to support his ability to save the House next year in 2026, we must win this year in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and New Jersey.
So you see this race as one that's really crucial for the state of the country. What if Mikey Cheryl does win? What does that say about where we are politically, not just in New Jersey, but in the country overall?
I'm not going to go into hypothetical. I'm going to go into 2021 was decided by 84,000 votes. 600,000 Republicans stayed home. 250,000 New Jersey gun owners are not registered to vote. You go to nj.gov. The last day to register to vote is on October 14th, Charlie Kirk's birthday. Honor Charlie Kirk by registering to vote. nj.gov. You make a plan to vote on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Game on.
Well, I don't think many viewers are going to be forgetting your message. You sell it, to say the least, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. A lot going on. You said it, the New Jersey race, the Virginia race, and races in Pennsylvania as well.
Yes, I ask everyone in Pennsylvania, please vote no to retention to Democrat Justices Dougherty, Donahue, and Wecht, and you will be able to replace them in 2027 with 3 more Republican Supreme Court justices. Let's go.
We thank you so much.
He's like AI, but for flipping races from blue to red. This is the first of many rallies that we will be doing with Jack Ciattarelli. Scott Presler will be in Wildwood, New Jersey. This will be the anniversary of President Trump's massive rally there. It's going to be rowdy and fun. The link is in the description if you'd like to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we win. Now, I don't know if you've been getting a lot of sleep. I certainly have not. We were in New York and we were in Chicago. We got back really late and man, we've been on the road and we will be on the road. And my biggest miss when I'm on the road is my sleep. Because it's a different room, because it's a weird bed, because it's a different city, different time zone. You know, it's like you get used to sleeping in your own mattress at home, especially if you have a good one. And I have a Helix sleep mattress. Not only do I have a Helix sleep mattress in my house, my children have Helix sleep mattresses. This is how we sleep so soundly in the Johnson household. How we are able to be refreshed. I was up at 5:30 this morning, like raring and ready to go, getting a workout in. Because we sleep cool, I sleep cool on this mattress. I'm very warm-blooded, sleeper. And because it has just the capacity to knock me out like that. It's so comfortable. This is a mattress, obviously, that has helped with aches and pains that we have. I'm at a standing desk all day. This is something that has helped with heat transfer, something that's helped with night sweats, and it's just an awesome product. I just can't say enough about it. Helix Sleep is the mattress of the Johnson household, even our kids. So you should also sleep soundly at night. We do have a crazy world. Nick Sotor slept in a jail cell a couple of nights ago. Maybe we'll send him a Helix Sleep mattress. HelixSleep.com/Benny for 20% off site-wide. Good. That's HelixSleep.com/Benny. 20% off site-wide. Make sure that you enter our show name at checkout so they know who sent you. HelixSleep.com/Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our next guest lined up, and these are the kind of interviews that it's just tough because Joe Abraham's daughter was murdered by a criminal alien in Chicago. Joe's from Chicago, and man, you just hate to see it. We live in a sunken world, but you want to prevent it, whether it's Charlie Kirk or whether it's Katie Abram, who is Joe's daughter from Chicago, murdered by a criminal alien. Joe joins the show live now. Joe, welcome to the program. It's just an absolute terrible tragedy. I have a feeling that this colors your opinion on ICE enforcement in Chicago. Can you give us your story?
Yeah, so I got a call Sunday, January 19th, earlier this year, from Urbana. So it was actually Urbana, Illinois, where Katie was killed. So you get this call in the morning and that your daughter's dead, right? So, you're just kind of melting down. And so I hung up. I just couldn't. So I had to gather myself and call the detectives back to get really the understanding of what happened, right? So I do have to say, when they said, basically it was someone driving under the influence, striking Katie's car. She was a passenger in a vehicle in Urbana visiting friends at University of Illinois. They were at a stoplight. The SUV barreled into them from the rear at 78 miles an hour. Katie died on the scene. The driver nowhere to be found. So the first thing in my head was, oh boy, I've heard so much about this. He's got to be an illegal. So I asked, is this person illegal? He said, is he headed to the border? Are we going to do something about this? And they just weren't sure. I couldn't get a whole lot of information, but it did turn out they did catch him. He went from Urbana to Chicago. I think they got him in Milford, Texas. So they did apprehend him in Texas while he was trying to. So here's a guy that hit. Katie was a passenger in the vehicle. They were just at a stoplight in the streets of Illinois. That's all it was. And they get rear-ended at 78 miles an hour. Katie dies on the scene. Another woman died the next day at the hospital. Another one had grave bodily injury. The first thing this person did was not call 911, not try to render any aid, not try to hang around and help first responders understand what happened. His first instinct was turn tail and run. So it frustrates me that these are the folks that our governor and our politicians, and let's face it, we're a one-party state. So I just want to talk to the one party that's running the state. I got zero. Silence was so deafening by our leaders here that it frustrates you a little bit. I just want to understand what we're doing. You've sort of invalidated some federal laws, right? You said, I'm a sanctuary city or state, just come here and they're conflating everybody, right? Citizens are the same as criminal illegals, legal, we're all the same. We're just residents is what the governor tells us. So are you just winging this? So you've invalidated federal law. You've opened up your state to anybody and everybody who can come here and reside without any type of assimilation or integration or kind of teaching folks this is how things work here. And on the contrary, they're rewarded, right? So you think about the money going to some of these folks, right? And our tax dollars. It's frustrating, and I lose sleep too, Benny, that my tax dollars went to help Katie's killer. Do you see what I'm saying? It's so difficult. And I got zero explanation about what's happening. If they're just winging this open border thing, is there a front end audit process? Is it that embarrassing? Is it that shameful to have a front end audit process? Because Governor Pritzker says, oh, don't worry, we're going to throw the book at him. He did something wrong. He's going to be adjudicated in Illinois, which Katie lost 50 or 60 years of her life. She's only 20 years old. This guy, if you think about it, all they're going to get him for is, from the state perspective, is drunk driving, maybe 10, 15 years tops. So he will see the light of day again. Katie has a death sentence, no due process, nothing. All she was someone in the streets of Illinois, minding her business, doing her thing. Passenger in a car is dead. That's where I'm at.
It's really gut-wrenching, the fleeing the scene. This happens a lot. And the reason it happens is because these people don't care about Americans. They're not Americans. They're Guatemalans or Haitians or whatever. And they don't care. We don't matter to them. Our lives, our rules, our laws, none of it matters to them. Their first act was to criminally enter our nation and to defy our laws. And so if they kill an American, it doesn't matter to them because they're not one of us. And that means that actually they might get deported or something bad may happen to them. And so it's like it's something fundamentally different. You're exactly right. You know, Americans get in car wrecks all the time. Sometimes bad things happen. It's a tragedy. It's terrible. You don't see another American or another Chicagoan or somebody that you grew up with in your neighborhood. Like if they hit a car, like you don't often see people fleeing the scenes. Okay, you let the insurance work it out. You let the cops work it out. But you see this all the time where a criminal, it happened up the road, Joe, where like a similar situation. Drunk off their ass, criminal alien, slams into a car, kills a mother and a baby here in Florida, and flees the scene, runs away after murdering an American. Like it's demonic indifference, and it is very fundamentally scary. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, it's when you say gut wrenching, that's 100%. I mean, just imagine as a parent, your child is gone, right? I'll never hold Katie. I'll never see that infectious smile of hers, her sense of humor, her wit. She was like, even as a child, you could put her in any situation socially. She was one of these kids that made everyone feel seen. If there was a child that was struggling to sort of fit in, she would reach out, she would pull them in. I mean, I used to hear the teachers at our school, at her schools, talk about these things. So to me, and again, I was never a political guy. I'm not some politician. I'm not a pundit. I'm not like some journalist. I was a guy who put his head down, went to work, tried to raise a family. And honestly, Benny, we have some type of a social agreement, do we not, with our state? I do all the right things. I'm law abiding. I'm productive. I pay the gouging taxes they put on me. And all the right things I've done. What do I get it back? That my daughter can't be on a street of Illinois? Is that's the deal? And now that after the fact, because we don't have any kind of a front-end audit process, this guy would have easily been filtered out. He was using an alias. He's a Guatemalan national. He was using an alias, Mexican alias. He was already previously deported. And I'm not sitting here and saying, don't let anyone into the country. We're a family of immigrants. So, but with that, there's nothing wrong with doing an orderly right and wrong way of pulling people in here. This is not the right way. There's no leadership here as far as I'm concerned. And I look at what's happening with the ICE facilities. I look at what happened between J.B. Pritzker and Donald Trump. And I can't believe it. This is the leader of a state. So to go back to that, it's not good enough to say we have open borders, we're winging it, it's a free-for-all, and if something happens wrong, we'll get justice. That doesn't work for me. I've got a life sentence now. I have to live the rest of my life without my baby girl, the rest of my life. So in the wake of this game that our leadership's playing here now, because look, he's trying to reach some peak. I don't know what that peak is. It's certainly not the governor of Illinois, but you're leaving bodies and the damage, the wake that you're leaving, the damage that is left behind is not acceptable. It is just simply not okay that I have to live the rest of my life after doing everything right, 3 productive kids, family, that I have to now sit here and say, well, it's okay because, Illinois is going to adjudicate this guy on the back end when he could have easily been filtered out in the front end. You can still bring in 600,000 people, whatever you want, do it the right way. And then on top of that, you mismanage the state so severely that you've got hundreds of thousands over the last 10 years of citizens leaving the state, refugees of Illinois refugees, and I may become one. I may become an Illinois refugee, the only state I've ever lived in. But so you've mismanaged it so thoroughly that the only people you're going to bring in here are just unaudited, unchecked, unvetted folks from all over the place. Really, I think one region, but that's not okay. You've got to show some leadership here, and you can't cry about, the federal, do your job and secure the border. You've already drawn people in by saying I'm sanctuary, right? So at the very least, I thought that you would have some type of a process on the front end to audit these folks. I was waiting when I was at Congress back in June to talk to the Democratic leaders that run the state and the governor. And look, I'm not looking for, hey, I'm sorry your daughter was killed, because it's not real. It's not true. But what I was looking for is to say, hey, we did have a process. He slipped through. Or I'm looking to say, hey, we did. Things got out of hand, but we're gonna settle in. We're gonna fix it, Joe. Here's the process that we're gonna have so your daughter doesn't die in vain. She's just collateral damage now. So when I was in Congress and not one person approached me, my Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky walked by me half a dozen times without even looking at me. Governor Pritzker didn't even look my direction. So that's when the switch went on as a non-political guy. Oh, wait a minute. They don't really care. This is the uncompassion party. I can't believe what's going on here. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start talking to anybody that wants to listen, because this is not okay. And no one, Benny, no parent should have to go through this, what we're going through today.
Joe, like our heart breaks for you. I got kids, man, and it's just living a nightmare. And then to think that it could be prevented. I mean, listen, we live in a sunken world, but somebody passed a law to make this illegal, and nobody cared. They just let Guatemalans in with Mexican aliases, gave them driver's license, gave them welfare, broke every rule. Like, we actually had rules to prevent this, and they defied those rules, and now your daughter is dead because of it. And so somebody did make a choice. That choice was partly made by the Biden administration, but since you live in Illinois, it was very much made by J.B. Pritzker. And so I want to give you an opportunity to address him now. Let's say that you had walked up to him on the floor of the legislature chamber, or perhaps you just want to clip on social media. I want to give you an opportunity to sound off. J.B. Pritzker has commented on a lot of our posts before, so maybe he'll see this one. What's your message to Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker?
So I've got a lot of messages, right? One would be, I don't understand, as a lifelong Illinoisan, and my daughter the same way, I was completely ignored. And I was sitting 10 feet away from you in Congress and completely ignored. What I want to hear now is not that there's nothing you can do, that Donald Trump is a cause of everything. There has to be some middle ground, right? You need to reach out as well as a leader of Illinois. It's not good enough to say Donald Trump's a president and whatever he agrees to, I will go the other way. I want something done in this state that at the very least puts a front-end audit process on who you're bringing into the state. And just because you need congressional apportionment doesn't mean that it should be a Wild West free-for-all. Do it the proper, orderly way. That's what I want to hear about it. So again, I don't know where they're coming from. No one would talk to me about this. So that's what I would want from him. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we're doing here. I'm not sure what my life has come down to, that I feel like I've done all the right things and I'm lost my daughter. And the mind playing such tricks on you with it. Every night I go to sleep, and I don't know if I'll ever have another good night's sleep, but I used to have these vivid dreams of me and Katie together. And I would wake up for that second, and I would say, it's not real. She's alive. I'm going to go to her room. And then that second's like, oh, she's actually gone. And then I had this one dream, Benny, that she came to me, hugged me, kissed me, and said she's okay. I've never had a vivid dream since then. I am struggling to constantly think of my daughter, her laugh, her smile, her hugs, her kisses. It's so gut-wrenching. And these politicians in Illinois created an environment that allowed this to happen. And they totally, what is my recourse at this point? I did everything right. What is my recourse? That they found this guy, he's going to get, 10, 15 years because of Katie? That doesn't work for me. And then if you're thinking you want policies, oh, we're the compassionate people, we want to take care of, every immigrant. Here's the thing. Your policies have done the complete opposite. So enough with the talk. Look at the deeds. Your policies have created an environment now that the majority of Americans are suspect when it comes to immigration. I'm not okay with that. I'm a family of immigrants. What you've done in Illinois is the opposite of what you think you were going to do. But now I just think it's just all about their own power. Everyone else be damned. I don't know I don't know how else to think about it now.
And very quickly, Joe, your message to President Trump as he's faced, and perhaps DHS and ICE agents as they're facing some major backlash in Chicago from radical leftists who are constantly attacking them.
So, Benny, I had the pleasure actually of going down to Chicago and addressing some of the ICE and DHS folks, the agents, the support staffs. It was a great turnout. I was humbled. I was honored. My message to them would have been the same as Donald Trump. You are doing the good work of cleaning up on the back end, which is so much more difficult than doing the right things on the front end. Keep it up. You have people that are behind you. There's a small minority that gets after you, and that's unfortunate, and you don't get political help in this state, and that's unfortunate as well. But I would say to Donald Trump, and just like I said to these agents, that keep up the good work, because things like Katie should not happen ever. We should be better than that, and there should be no shame in auditing folks that are here. So, it's a frustrating thing to watch. We did meet with Donald Trump. We were part of that big, beautiful bill because we saw that there were some border security funding. And he did look me in the eye and he said, we're going to get things cleaned up. And I told him, please, you're going to get pushback. Do anything you can and keep it going. Stay the course, because Katie shouldn't die in vain like this. And I've got nothing back from Illinois politicians. None. And the ones that do speak out, Brad Schneider, who's a congressman just here, borders my district, was on CNN one day. They asked him about the whole Operation Midway blitz honoring Katie. He didn't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. Anyway, here's the drunk driving, because it is a drunk driving thing as well. There's no deterrence for drunk driving as far as I'm concerned. I like to see that change. But he was saying, I don't know anything about that. Meanwhile, I've been fighting for years and years about drunk driving and getting, couple things. If you don't know anything about it, you're incompetent. The other thing is, if you're fighting like all these politicians, I'm fighting for this, fighting for that, and nothing has changed, it's time for you to move aside. Get out of the way, have some honor and decency. Get out of the way. You fought too much, because whatever you're fighting is not working. It's not good enough to say I'm fighting. I don't even know what that means. If you're fighting and getting nothing done, have some dignity and honor and get out of the way and let someone else come in and see if they can make change.
I want to be perhaps the first, certainly not the last, to invite you to move to Florida You know, bad things still happen here, sadly, but at the very least, you know that if there's an accident with the criminal alien, that criminal alien will face the death penalty. There was a really bad semi-accident here with a criminal alien driving, and people got killed. And that I hear from local law enforcement, from state law enforcement, it's the death. You know, it's going to be the death penalty. Is absolutely what they're going for. You can't prevent bad things from happening, but like at the very least, you can live in a place where they're punished and punished severely in order to make sure that people know we don't do that here.
I agree. I just don't think that. On the contrary, there's more reward than there is deterrence, at least here in Illinois. Think about the fact that he made a conscious choice to go out drinking. There was alcohol in the car, so they made a conscious choice to go out. They got, killed a couple of folks, a couple of citizens, right? They made a conscious effort to go behind the wheel and do that. And then that's it. To your point, it should be the death. You took 2 lives. You should never see the light of day. I don't know why that's controversial.
No, it's not. Come on down to Florida, dude. Tampa's great.
Yeah.
Tampa's fantastic. That's where I am. You should, guys, family friendly. It's beautiful. And it's like just great families and public parks and everything like that. And, nothing brings Katie back. But at the very least, we can build a society where this doesn't happen anymore. And you're part of that. And so I just want to say thank you, Joe. A lot of people would retreat or would collapse, and you're standing up strong for the memory of Katie. And so we deeply honor that. Thank you for being on our program, Joe.
Thank you, Ben.
Bless you.
God bless you.
Everybody, please pray for Joe. And it sounds like he's taking what is bad, what man intended for evil, and turning it. God intends for good sometimes, and so he's turning that around. So Godspeed, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Benny. Appreciate it.
Whew, man. It's tough. It's tough. You just hate to see it, and you don't want it. I got kids. Anybody who has kids, or anybody who even wants kids, they can feel an interview like that. Just rip your heart out. Man, it'll just rip your heart out. There's just no. This is what we're fighting against. Obviously, this is what we're fighting against. Big time prayers for Joe Abraham, and man, we're just really sorry that you're going through that, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, perfect way to end our show here with 1 Peter 5:8, our verse of the day. Be alert and of sober mind. Goodness, who chose this verse? Well, this is perfect. This is prophetic. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour, looking to steal, kill, and destroy. What is the nature of Satan? Steal, kill, destroy. Who are the people you should not be around? You shouldn't vote for them. You shouldn't want to be around them. You shouldn't live in their neighborhoods, right? People who wish to kill, steal, and destroy your life. Don't. It is the nature of Satan. It does exist in this world. And you can see here clearly whether it's the lieutenant governor the attorney general candidate for Democrats in Virginia, whether it's these Democrat terrorists all throughout Chicago and Illinois, or whether it's this criminal alien element that, of course, has extremely high crime rates against Americans and murder. They murder Americans and then flee. That is the work of Satan in this world. That is the mark of Satan. Stealing, killing, and destroying. Poor Joe. Say a prayer for Joe. They stole his daughter from him. They killed her, and they've really destroyed a good man. God can build you back up, though. The power of God. God is more powerful than Satan. Fear God more than you fear Satan, and you'll live a solid life. Ladies and gentlemen, as we head out today, just a reminder, that the fight's not over. We need to keep fighting on. And most importantly, in the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Surrender that gigantic pie. To the free, my rascally restaurant!
Truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.